Hey there guys, today is day 10 of the Avian Advent Calendar Challenge. Now the Avian Advent Calendar is an advent calendar of parrot toy parts. So every single day I'm going to be opening up a box, showing you guys what's inside, and coming up with a brand new parrot toy that you guys can make. So if that is something you guys are interested in seeing, you want to make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Guys, this is Jack over at Hive Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And today's video is part of a series going over a challenge I am doing with the Avian Advent Calendar. Now, the Avian Advent Calendar is a product put together by the Leather Elves. If you guys would like to know more about it, I am going to put the link in the description section down below. But basically, it is an advent calendar of parrot toy parts. So I am going to be challenged every single day to put together a brand new toy using the toy parts that come in the individual boxes. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. First and foremost, the best part of this, we're going to be building a brand new toy every single day, December 1st through the 25th. So you definitely want to make sure that you pay attention to that. Now, we are going to be using a variety of different toy parts, and I think it's really important that people learn to work with a variety of different parrot toy parts. Sometimes there's going to be things that you're not as comfortable using or that you're just not as familiar with using, but your bird could definitely benefit from that. So we're going to be paying attention to the variety of different items that are available in the boxes and make sure that we use them appropriately. Now, this is also designed to help everyone build skills as a parrot toy maker. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to things like, what's the purpose of this toy? How is your animal going to be using it? How can we make sure that it's going to be safe? Do we need to pay attention to things like cleanliness? Keeping an item clean, which can be an issue with certain parrot toys, how you're going to present it. Obviously, the presentation of different items can change how interested your bird is in interacting with certain things. So we're going to be covering a variety of different approaches, different toy making techniques. So hopefully, at the end of this 25-day period, everyone who watches the series will have better skills and be a better parrot toy maker. So there's a lot of things we're trying to accomplish here. One thing I do want to point out before we get started, we're going to open a new box every single day, but we're not necessarily going to be using all of the parts every single day. I would encourage you guys to save those parts, save things like the packing paper, the boxes that you are opening every single day, because we will be using them on future challenges. The important thing is that there are so many different materials that can be used to make great parrot toys, and we are going to do our best to use all of them. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the toy that we're going to be building today. All right, guys, so for day 10, we have, so here we have some condiment cups and plastic lids. Now, the really fun thing about these, you can tell that these are a pressed paper condiment cup, and if you look at the quote-unquote plastic lids, you can actually see that these are compostable, which means that these are most likely made from something like cornstarch. So there is a lot less danger here than using something that is directly plastic. Now, these can be a great way to give your bird enrichment, especially if it's not something that they are used to getting. If they're not that used to enrichment, maybe you start with just the cup, the clear lid, loosely placed on. Your bird can clearly see anything that's inside. All they would have to do is move the lid to the side. They could pick it up and move it. I actually have a cockatoo that'll pick them up and fling these across the room. Or even if they just nudge it and, touch it and eventually get it to fall. When you get that mastered, then you can go ahead, you can click those on. I do want to point out that, even though these are compostable, they're safer than basic plastic. Plastic is going to be the main ingestion hazard for a lot of birds. That doesn't mean they can't get it. It means you have to take that initiative to watch your animal to make sure they are interacting with things safely, which you should be doing anyway. We are actually going to be using 2 of these cups to build one of my favorite toys. We are also going to need a small piece of leather. We are going to need 2 of the large wooden discs that we got on a previous day. And then we are going to need some shredded paper. I am going to be using red since the red with the green seemed like it would be nice and festive. You are also going to need possibly a quick link. You're going to need possibly your scissors. Now, I cannot use a hole punch to put a hole in the bottom of these. So the easiest thing for me to do, you could use your scissors. You could just use your scissors, punch right there. Be very, very careful when you do this because obviously trying to do that, you do run the risk of, if it bounces off, if you miss, you could damage your table, which could get you yelled at for being dangerous or not taking proper safety precautions when you make parrot toys. You could stab yourself in the hand, which means you have to ask somebody else in your family to take you to urgent care, maybe get a few stitches, which would cause you to get blamed for being dangerous, not taking proper precautions when making your parrot toys. Please ignore that scar on my hand right there. Instead, I am going to be using a drill and a drill bit because it's really easy to just do that. But I do always encourage you guys, you want to make sure if you do not drill directly onto a table or any nice surface unless you have something to protect it. Since I'm just doing these 2 pieces, I can go ahead, do them off the table. But I do want to make sure that I don't, drill into my hand. And you guys can see that I have those holes punched into that. Now I'm just going to throw a knot onto the bottom of this. And this toy is incredibly simple to make. The knot is going to be the bottom of our toy. We are going to put 1 of our pressed paper condiment cups. We are going to put a little bit of shredded paper inside, but you might find it easier to do this once it is all done. And we are going to put this large disc to be a lid. We are then going to repeat that. We're going to do another one of these condiment cups and another one of these discs to be the lid. So the way this toy works, your birds have a couple of options. They can grab at these discs, they can pull them up. Depending on how much slack you give here, if you tied the knot all the way at the very bottom, they would not have the ability to do that. Instead, they would have to find the edge of this toy and work their way down, chewing through it. It is up to you how difficult you want to make this toy. I like the birds being able to lift it a little bit, so I am going to give it a little bit of slack, maybe till right there, because I want them to be able to lift it. I don't want to be able to, have an entire, lift multiple pieces of it and have them come slamming down on my bird's head. But once we have it at this point, we can, of course, then go through. We're going to add some shredded paper. There's got to be something fun to find in these. We are also going to be adding some treat items. And one thing I would encourage you guys to think about, obviously, if you're first getting started with building toys, you want to make sure there's a really, a good reason for your bird to want to interact with things. So maybe you would put treats every single one. But when your bird gets to be good at foraging, when they know what to expect when they see toys, maybe you alternate, only put the treats in one of them. The shredded paper and making a mess, for a lot of birds, that can be a reward in and of itself. So just think about those things. Now with what you have left, you can either tie this directly to your bird's cage, or like we did with previous toys, make a loop, cut off whatever excess you have, and add a quick link. Remember to save those small pieces of leather because even something that was this big does have the potential to be useful when making things like foot toys or other toys. You definitely want to remember with this Avian Advent Calendar, any of the pieces you aren't using on a particular day, save them because we can use them later. That is why I told you guys at the very beginning, you have the ability to make 25 plus toys because there are going to be a whole lot of pieces left over when we are done. And that just means you can build even more toys. So if you like this idea, if you found it useful, you want to make sure that you like this video. You want to subscribe to the Hi Redbird YouTube channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on anything. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the next day of the Avian Advent Calendar Challenge. I do need to say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Redbird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!